One way you can support us is at heavyplay.com. You can check out their cool playmats, deck boxes, sleeves, dice boxes, and more, all with their cool Connect play system, as you can see on the website image here. So it's all real cool. It all attaches with magnets, so they won't fall off and stuff. And you can support us by going to checkout. And in checkout, you can use our promo code MTG Place. You just enter it in right here like this, MTG Place, and it'll apply 10% off your order. So please do that if you want to order any of this cool stuff. It'll help support the podcast. Thank you. Another way you can support us is if you want to pick up singles, do so by using our TCG Player affiliate link, which you can find in the show notes and on our website, mtgplace.net. Hello, everybody. Welcome to MTG Place Podcast. My name is Corey, and with me, like always, is Josh. How's it going, Josh?
What's up, everybody? There we
go. We got Skulk the Hulkening from YouTube and Instagram and everywhere else.
How's it going? Thanks for having me, guys. Pleasure to be here.
So why don't you do your background? Tell us about yourself a little bit.
I'm a performing artist for the last 20 years. I've done music. I did improv comedy in Chicago at the Improv Olympic for a long time. And I'm now doing a vodcast that is kind of a graphic novel podcast, and it's the story of Skulk the Hulking. But I've been an avid Magic player for a large amount of my life. So
nice. Did you play any of the Final Fantasy stuff this weekend?
I did not get a chance. Everything sold out so quick that I just couldn't get in. I'm in New York, and like, if you don't sign up like a month ahead of time for like the popular stuff, like, and I had no clue if I was going to be free, so I was hoping, but it never happened. Yeah, I'll get some drafts in though. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So what originally got you into Magic?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure what exactly started. I probably started in, I think, 6th grade, which was 94 for me. So I was there towards the beginning. I could still remember the smell of opening a starter box. Like, they had this unique smell of cardboard. And I kind of miss that, you know? But I remember my good friends, Aaron and Matt, and I think Isaac all played Magic, and I have memories of being on the grade school, like, outdoor concrete, and while everyone's playing like baseball or whatever, we're playing Magic old school way with Ante, how it was meant to, how Richard Garfield meant Magic to be played. No sleeves. Oh God, no sleeves. No. I don't even know if sleeves were invented at that time.
Yeah. Funny.
But so I started playing. Then I played through high school. At high school, which was great. We had a great store. It started out as, it was actually originally called Cats Only, and was run by this older lady who, it was a pet store where you could only get cats. Yes. And she wanted to help the business. So at night she would host Magic tournaments for the local kids. And then eventually the store moved and became the Cat and the Dragon to bring in the Magic. And then eventually a good friend of mine now, Ron Ryman, he bought the store. He turned it into I don't even remember what he called the store. We just called it Ron's. We just went to Ron's every day. But yeah. I played that, and then after high school, I took a little break from Magic. I went to college. I got into music and stuff, and was playing in some bands and stuff. And in 2015, I had moved to out here to New York, maybe 8 years earlier, and there was and as I was walking around out here, there was a magic store, and I was like, magic, that still exists, you know. Little did I know how much bigger it had gotten since then. You know. And I remember the first day I went in, I talked to the owner, nice guy, you know. And he's like, you got cards? And I was like, yeah, I have like old cards, you know, from back then. He's like, you should come and play. So I had my mom send me out my old Magic cards. I went through it all, and I was like, I'm going to a legacy tournament and building a red deck wins, you know. I had but I had no clue. I didn't know like that the game had changed to be this like, you know, net decking, like everyone knows what the best decks are, everyone knows what everyone's playing. And I just built the crappiest red deck and got the hell beat out of me. And it was the roughest, worst deck I had ever put together, having not known what legacy or anything was.
Yeah.
I got smoked so bad. I spent the next like 4 months just 0-4ing every tournament that I went to. Little did I know it was like, it's the store where like Reed Duke sometimes goes to play, you know, like it was the serious spot, you know.
Yeah. I got my Hill Giant. What am I supposed to do?
Exactly. It was a little sad. But I stuck with it, and like now I'm still playing to this day. You know.
Yeah, that's super cool.
But
you
I definitely gotta stay away from Legacy these days.
Do you have any like crazy cards that you had like in your old collection? Like, oh, I had a Power 9 on accident. I didn't know.
It was so sad to go through them. I did the worst job of keeping anything. But at one point, I'm sure if my good friend from high school, Joe Latona, hears this, he will be like, shut up, Steve, I've heard this story a million times. But at one point I was collecting dual lands when I was 13. I had like 70 of them. I was just collecting them for fun, and then some guy just like really strong-armed me to trade them to him, and he was like, just take anything out of the binder. And zero. I have one very beat up I have one very beat up Taiga, and that's about it. I have a pristine force field that I opened out of a revised pack that I had opened up when I was very young. I think that's probably my best card that survived. But outside of that, it's a lot of junk.
That's funny.
I played in a legacy tournament a little while ago, but then they went and banned, because I play Reanimator, and so then they went and banned Grief, and I'm like, well, now I don't really have a deck. Grief is were you playing Manaless? Or no, that's Dredge, right? Yeah. Just red black jam Reanimator. Just like trying reanimate is like turn 1 if you can on Atraxa, and then if they can stop you, you lose. Otherwise you win. It's a real quick, I either win or lose. I'm done in 10 minutes.
Legacy nowadays.
I feel like that's Legacy. Yeah, there's either Legacy goes like a million years, or it's over in 5 seconds.
Do you have Force of Will? Okay, I win.
Yeah, exactly. But these. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, what formats do you play now?
Yeah, so now I was playing a lot of Modern before the pandemic. I actually was like playing pretty competitively. I was going to GPs back when it was GPs. I had a great moment. Like, it had to be a couple months before the pandemic, where I went to the New Jersey GP, and I am one of those guys who like refuses to play net decks at this point, and I just want to brew something. And I had brewed a Walls deck back. So this is back in 2019. And it was just the perfect storm for what was happening in Modern, because Modern was dominated. This was like degenerate Modern when Hogak was ruining the tournaments and Lantern Control. Like those were the two. And it really paired up nicely with those two decks because Lantern Control relies a lot on what's it called? Ensnaring Bridge. But since Walls have 0 attack, even if they have 0 cards in hand, they can't really stop my Walls coming in. And Hogak can be blocked by a couple of 08 Walls that I had, and as long as you're playing stuff to get rid of graveyards, you play it smartly. I remember at that tournament, the first round, I had 2 what's it called? The 08 flying
Wall of Denial.
Wall of Denial, yes.
Yeah.
I had 2 Wall of Denials out and High Alert, and I said, I swing for 16 in the air, and I looked down the table, and just every person turned and was like, what is happening down there?
In the air? Oh, man.
I got 1 game away from top 8ing, and I ran into Elves, which no one was playing Elves at the time. It was just such a shock to sit down and see them turn 1 Llanowar Elf. And I was just like, oh no, this is nothing I am prepared for. And it was so disappointing. It would have been my first top 8. I was so excited, but someone came up to me. I don't know who. I'm so bad about knowing like Magic royalty, but he came up to me and he's like, hey man, I know you're pretty disappointed right now, but he's like, look over there. And it was just a bunch of the top 8 talking to each other. He's like, everyone over there is talking about your deck.
Yeah.
Like, all right, that's cool.
So sweet.
Still would have rather top 8'd, but it was cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yes, but nowadays, since it's a little Modern these days, is so hard to keep up with. It is just constantly changing. And so these days I'm mostly drafting. I like drafts. I've always enjoyed drafts. I thought it is one of the most fair formats of Magic. It's everyone. You have to be paying attention. I'm not necessarily the best at it, but I like the challenge of, you have to be paying attention to what's out there. You have to know what you're going to be playing against, and you can really be pretty clever. I love, one of my favorite formats to draft was Amonkhet, because I thought that was such a shockingly fast format. And they had a couple of different ways. Like they had some really nice ways you could go with the builds. You had the -1/-1 counters way of playing it. You had the kind of instant sorcery way of pinging them to death, or you just had straight speed in that. Or you could try to, green as always, go big, but I liked how wide that format was.
Yeah, that's interesting. Not many people. Amonkhet was kind of a low for Magic, but I like how you kind of brought it up. I did enjoy that draft environment.
Oh, really? I didn't know. I always thought people enjoyed Amonkhet. That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. Popularity wise, I guess.
Yeah.
But that was
that was right around when I first come back, so maybe I was just super hype and super into it.
Yeah.
So I could possibly play into it.
Yeah, I definitely limited the most. It's all I do, because I'm just like, oh, I could draft, I can open some packs, hopefully I get something cool, and then it's I feel like if you've been playing a long time, it kind of edges to your advantage a little bit because you tend to be a better deck builder than others. So
yeah, 100%. And also in limited, it just makes a lot of cards that are filler cards actually fun to play. I love combat tricks. So few decks these days, in eternal formats use combat tricks, and I think that's a really fun way to play Magic, and it really is beneficial the more you know the rules, and so I've always enjoyed limited for that. It kind of brings all the types of cards into play again.
Yeah, plus it seems like you can kind of what do you call it, grasp what they were trying to go for with the set too. Like what was it,
Yeah.
like Bloomburrow
There's
was like, oh, all the
lore
different creatures, and
vibe.
you can kind of more of the lore vibes going when you do draft.
Yeah, 100%. There's a story to tell. I do miss combat tricks. Like, yeah, in limited, it's great. Like nowadays, like when you block, you know you're not going to get blown out by a combat trick anymore. There's no like decision anymore. But in like limited, when there is, you're like, ooh, does he have one? Do I
Yeah,
block
exactly.
here?
He's got 3 mana up that
Yeah,
normally would mean nothing in
yeah.
a
In other
constructed
formats,
format,
yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
this could be some stupid card that
Yeah.
like you really it's about juicing the cards for as much as you can,
Hmm.
and I've really grown to love that. I built decks that just feel awful, but I played them really well. And I'm like, yes, that's the point of limited, Vice versa, I built decks that look great, but I just played them poorly. And I'm just like, well, I got blown out by someone who just played their cards better, So,
Well, that's always how it goes, though. When you're like, "Oh, I have a sweet deck," you're just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go 0-3," like and then like, "Oh, I have like a terrible deck," and you go like 7-0. You're like, "What in the heck?"
yeah. I also recently built a Dan deck. Are you guys familiar with Dan? Yeah.
The format. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always had heard about it. Like it's been around for such a long time.
Yeah.
And I finally was just like, I never saw anyone who had a deck. And I was like, I'm going to build the deck. I have pretty much all the cards anyway. Might as well. And so that's kind of when I go back home to hang out with old friends or something, or my brother, like we'll play
Mm-hmm.
some Dan. And I think it's a really fun, it really forces you to learn the stack and how to use the stack to your advantage. I think it's a
Yeah.
really great learning tool for people who are learning to play Magic. Just because I feel it even me who's been playing it forever, like when I started playing Dan, I was like, oh wow, you can really manipulate the stack to your advantage, and it really teaches you when the best time to play each
Mm-hmm.
card is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would learn so much from it, but I did.
Oh yeah, hiding cards with like Brainstorm or wherever. Like it's a really mind-boggling format.
It
I
just
enjoy
to
it.
realize you're sharing the deck, sharing the
Yeah.
graveyard. It's
Yep.
sometimes you're doing stuff that you don't even. Like one of my favorites is that there's Mythic Sanctuary in
Mm-hmm.
it, but sometimes it's great to just put a card that isn't beneficial
Yeah.
for your
Yeah.
opponent on top of the deck
Exactly.
instead of using a draw card to get what you want.
Mhm. Now you
And
get
there's
another
all these,
attack with Dan or
yeah,
whatever you have. Like it's
exactly. It's very fun.
mm-hmm. Yeah, you basically time walked. You got an extra turn by putting them
Exactly.
with a crappy spell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I do play a bit of Commander. I play with. It's usually only when I go back home. My my good friend from high school, Joe. He's a big Commander player, and so I uh, I built the ugliest Commander deck I could, using my I wanted to use my most expensive cards so that they got used, which aren't that expensive, but my most expensive cards with the dumbest commander. So I play Halar. Are you guys familiar with Halar? It's such a random legendary creature that no one finds useful, but it's a whenever you um kick a card, you put a +1/+1 counter on Halar, and then everyone takes X amount of damage, where X is how many +1/+1 counters are on Halar. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I just try to close out the game in one shot, just by putting +1/+1 counters on her until I got a kicker, and then
One
try to
kicker.
kick it for a ton.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rarely
Hilarious.
it works out. People see it coming very clearly.
Yeah.
But it's a fun
But
goal
at
to
least
aim
it's
for.
unique, right? You'll be like, I got a commander that I never see. Like versus,
Exactly.
a million people have Ur Dragon, like
Exactly.
or a Troxa or whoever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's kind of what Commander is about, though. Is like, what do I got in my collection? I'm going to build it this time. Here I go.
Yeah.
It really is social.
I think that's nice for Commander. Like, it really allows you to just use what you have, you know, and as long as your play group is under the same understanding, like,
Yeah.
you know, I am a competitive person. I do love the competition. Like, and in New York, the competition is very high. You know, it is tough to even take a small break, you know, especially with modern and stuff like that. So it is nice to have these other formats that aren't so demanding, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shifting topics a little bit here, how did you come up with your content? Like the silent video thing? I've seen a couple of them. Those are pretty cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. One day I was just messing around. I started doing them when, what was, what's his name? Little monkey man.
Ragavan.
Ragavan. Yeah.
That was. I watched that video. That was great. I remember when that came out.
Yes.
Hilarious.
When Ragavan came out, that's when I started, and just everyone was so over the top, just like, if Ragavan gets played turn one, that's the end of the game, you know?
Over.
And it was just,
Over.
it was just the ridiculous thing to me, because it is a fatal pushable card. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's enough things in the format to deal with Ragavan. It's a great starter, don't get me wrong. And if you don't deal with it, it can get out of control quickly. But we're in the modern format, people. Like, if you're not planning for a turn one play that you have to deal with, are you playing modern?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I just want to make fun of it for a moment. And I made that video, and it got like 100,000 views. Like, that was my first TikTok that I threw out there. And I was just like, oh, wow. Like, Magic might be a place to just do some goofy jokes, you know? And I mean, I've been playing it long enough that I've seen the way it's changed. And, you know, I could talk. People love to call me. I find it so funny that people call me the Magic Grandpa sometimes. They're like, man, I'm 43. I'm not that old.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll take it, you know, whatever. And what's funny is the silent thing. I wasn't planning to do silent originally, but living in New York, it is impossible to get good sound because there is always sirens or car horns or people yelling. You know, like, I really tried. I bought a little lavalier mic to try to help with it. It only helped so much. You know, like, and I was like, you know what? Like, why not, you know, let music, being a music person and loving music myself, you know, I was like, you can let music kind of drive the story, and then just, you know, whatever relevant information you can always just put on the screen, you know. And so it just kind of stuck, and that's what I've been doing since then, you know. And I think it also helps kind of separate it as, you know, something different than, you know, some of the other guys are doing. And it's funny. The rest of the community is so nice, you know, like Mauled Hound I got to talk with on Twitch on a show that I did. And just nice community. Everyone's, you know, being like, hey, like your content, you know, it's very, very cool community. And through that, I actually got to do the MTG ambassador program with them.
Yeah.
So I every so often will get some product and make. The last one I got was, what was it? What's the haunted house one that just came out?
Duskmorn.
Duskmorn. Yeah, I got to, they sent me some Duskmorn stuff.
Yeah.
And I got sent a Christmas card with one of the famous Christmas Goofy. I got the Eggnogger stash, which is so perfect having my mustache, you know? Like, I was like,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
What a good time to get that card, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I really didn't expect to be making a bunch of MTG content, but people have been responding really well to it, and so you know, might as well have some fun while I'm making stupid magic jokes, you know?
Yep. Well, there's the book, the comic book that makes magic jokes too. And like the first time I saw that, I was just like dying. I was like, we need more of this. Like just comedy and magic in general.
Yes, yes.
It's, you know, that way, you just joking around, you're having fun. Like the whole game is for me is just like having fun with it. Like, I mean, I get in tournaments, some people are super serious, but it's like, I mean, even in a lot of tournaments, I'm just like, whatever, dude. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice mix, you know, like, and even when I'm at tournaments, though people are serious, I feel like as you get to know the community, you know, everything kind of calms down a little bit, you know, like,
yeah,
sure, there's always the super tryhards, you know, but like most people are there having a good time, you know, and
For the love of the game.
yeah, you know, like it was nice having a crew that we would sometimes drive down to Baltimore, you know, go play there or something, you know, and everyone's hanging out. We'd sit in the hotel and buy a box of some random like iconic masters. They were selling at one tournament $60 boxes of iconic masters, and so we were
oh
like,
geez, I'd be buying the heck out
yeah,
of
I know.
those.
Well, this was back when like everything iconic was trash. Now it's all great
Oh
again.
yeah,
It like had this weird rollover where it went crap, and now a lot of the stuff is back and good. And so we just did like a really cheap draft in the hotel room. Didn't care, you know. Like, you know, the community is very fun for that.
So that makes sense. You're saying you were a musician, and so you made the sound for all of your TikToks and shorts, like the old timey. I'm so out of musicians. Like that seems impossible to me. But
So
right.
for the magic shorts,
Yeah,
I'll sometimes use real music. I'll sometimes write my
yeah.
own music depending on what I can do. You know,
Hmm.
for the story that just came out that I did, I wrote all the music for that, all the background music, and it features a bunch of music from an album I had put out right before the pandemic, and so I love using music to help drive story. You know, it's always the first thing that grabs me.
Hmm.
Even watching a show that I really have a tough time watching right now is White Lotus. I don't know if you guys are familiar with White Lotus,
Keep
but
hearing about it.
the music in it is so aggressive in its like emotional drive that I sometimes have to just stop in the middle of the show because I'm like, this is just getting a little too intense for me and I can't really handle it,
Yeah,
you know? And so
yeah,
I
yeah.
love when music can do that. So I really, uh, in, it's called The Many Incessant Lives and Subsequent Deaths Deserved of Skulk the Hulking. And I try to use music in that to help drive the story and help bring people
Yeah,
into what's happening.
yeah.
yeah. So that's your new podcast graphic novel you were talking about, right?
Yeah. So
So how does that kind of work? Like, because it's like half and half or what?
so it's it's a so it's a vodcast in that I recorded, you know, it's I wrote the story, I wrote the music, and then me and some friends did some voiceover for the narration and the characters and stuff, and then I created images for it, and so it's kind of like, so if you watch it on Spotify or YouTube, there is a visual part to it that I created through Mid Journey, and it's kind of moving stills on it,
Mhm.
and it helps. So it gives kind of this feel of a comic book feel as you're watching it, as it's kind of like you're going panel to panel through the
Yeah,
story, and it's matching along with the story.
that's really cool.
And I really loved getting to work with Midjourney because I know there is this big concern about generative AI right now. I mean, you even see it in Magic. You know, like
Hmm.
Mhm.
Magic had used some generative AI. It got, you know, a big backlash. I don't think all of it is good. I definitely think there needs to be some regulation, but I also think there can be artistic value in it as a tool used amongst things.
Mhm.
Uh, in a game like Magic, where it is just the visual, I don't think it necessarily makes so much sense, using a generative AI. But as an addition to a story to help visualize the story, I think has some very unique and interesting artistic value to it. It's a lot harder to do than I think most people think, especially when you're trying to get it to uh, look, especially when you're trying to get very specific about
Yeah.
what's in it.
Yeah.
Uh, and I also found it to be because it's using what everyone believes this word visually means. It's this nice way of communicating with people, as I'm creating it. And it kind of taught me things about the story that I didn't realize. And it
Yeah.
taught me
Yeah.
about what language I use and what that language actually means. So it's been an oddly educational experience at the same time. Uh, I think it's interesting. I've started now creating with Sora, like using the Mid-Journey images and
Yeah.
then mixing it with Sora to give it like
Mhm.
actual animation. And like that's a whole nother like lesson of like what do my words actually mean? What do we as people think these words actually mean? Uh and I don't know. It's been a very, very cool uh, experiment that I don't think I'm necessarily done with yet. And I get to tell this story that I think I am a very socio-political person. I have opinions about how we should be treating each other better, and this story allows me to kind of get those feelings out there in a goofy and fun way and make fun of myself in the same times because it's Skulk the Hulking. I'm Skulk the Hulking. He's a foolish dolt who the world keeps spitting back out there to try and fix it, but he's just a little too dumb and a little too uncoordinated to actually do it. So he usually dies in some awkward way, and then the world spits him back out and he gets another shot at it.
That's kind of
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like that's very inspired by my years in Magic. I've played a lot of years of Magic. I've done adjacently a lot of D&D and role playing games, and I definitely feel that's been a part of my life for so long that it's nice to kind of realize, oh, I had this fantasy story that I've been wanting to tell my whole life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very interesting take of actually like using AI and like trying to figure out exactly what you want to speak and interpreting that's what everyone else is trying to say as well. Is like I never really thought of like everybody putting in that's the word that they're trying to do and everyone kind of imagines it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's a very I understand the worries about it. It's something that
Mhm.
can be used
Yeah.
to exploit artists. It's something that can be used to oppress artists. I fully understand that. At the same time, there's so many tools that can be used to do those things. And
Yeah.
even if we stop this, it doesn't stop the people who want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's been
we
possible
should be
before.
trying to stop those people and
Yeah.
not necessarily the tools that can be used for good or bad, which
Mhm.
most tools can be used for good or bad,
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so that's I don't know. That's kind of what I went into it because I can feel that from people, and
Mhm.
we just need to understand more.
Yeah, it's a tool, but it's very powerful. Like, yeah, you can really get some great ideas from it, and you just type in a sentence and you see what
No,
happens. It's pretty crazy.
no.
But
Yeah, that's craziness. Where can people find that graphic novel of yours?
If people would like to, they can go to skulkthehulking.com, or you can go to YouTube or Spotify and search Skulk the Hulking, and uh,
Mhm.
it'll pop up. Um, along with some goofy music videos I've done in the past as well.
Nice.
And probably probably a lot of the Magic videos as well. But skulkthehulking.com is your one stop for all.
Nice. Yep.
And is that it's all free, or is it like a?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
all out there. It's all free. You can,
I didn't know
watch.
if you were like going to charge some people, like, hey, if you want to listen to this audio graphic novel.
No. Yeah, right now it's all about just gaining ears.
Okay,
I love what I've created, and I just would love for people to give it a chance, give it a listen, and let me know what you think. Especially let me know what you think about the generative AI side, because I think I want to start that conversation. I want us to talk about it more than just saying blanketly it's bad or it's not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You planning on going to any of the like Magic Cons or anything?
I really wanted to go. I just missed out on going to the Magic Con in Vegas last year.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's in June, which it's this month, right? Magic Con is this
It's
month.
coming
Yeah.
up, I think.
My God.
Yeah, I
This
think
year was
it's
just a
was it,
whirlwind.
and then there's Atlanta later this year, like October or something.
Yeah, I would love to go to the next Vegas one. My brother lives in Vegas, and
Wow.
I haven't had a chance to visit him, so I think it'd be a real we grew up together, yelling at each other about my pestilence rats can't do that. And so I think it'd be a fun experience to go with him after all these years. But I've been I've been I've been getting back into Modern a little bit, so I might go to some of the RCQs to try to do that. I had a revamped idea for my walls, I'm trying to do wall-less walls right now, because you have Tameo, who's a 1-drop 03, right?
03, yeah.
Flyer, You got they just added what was its name? The 08 for 2 octopus. It's like a legendary octopus. Oh, what's it called? Let me see if I can say this. It was just in the last set. And you have Wall of Ruins, so I thought, why not also add in Flare of Denial, so a little free, Merfolk's been using it a little bit, which is the free counter spell for sacrificing a blue creature. So I don't know, it's been working okay. You got to have your consigned to memories to deal with the egregious amount of Eldrazi that is out there these days. MH3 really gave Eldrazi so much. It's the hardest thing about Eldrazi is that they have those triggers on cast. Like what an annoying, ridiculous thing to add to a creature. And I know it's been part of Eldrazi for a while, but when you print like 10 Eldrazi that are relevant, like that all have this trigger, it's a lot to deal with. But Boros has been nerfed enough that it's not the worst thing to run into. Still, energy is tough to deal with, but we'll see. I don't know if Walls 5 years later is going to do it anymore. I don't know if it's got it in it anymore. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try to force it. I kind of miss the days of 8-rack. Like 8-rack just isn't even relevant anymore. But those days,
I haven't played Modern since like Norn Sisters was the
one
of the good decks. Yeah. So I was like playing that, and I was like, oh, I got like a bunch of life and a bunch of tokens.
Yeah. It's Modern. It's crazy to see how fast Modern has changed. Even when I got into it in 2015, decks stayed relevant for years, maybe a year or two, and like even then, like a new deck would be a new take on an older deck, and then in the last like 2 or 3 years, just man, modern, just like every, Lord of the Rings completely changed modern. MH3 completely changed modern as it's intended to.
Mm-hmm.
But like standard has been, standard sets have been coming out with way more modern playable cards than, in the last 3 years. And so it really affects the playing field. And it's just like cards will go from being, $100 down to $10 and vice versa. And it's just like, man, that is very hard to keep up with, unless you want to take the time. If you really want to play modern for the rest of your life and never change a deck, you learn to play Amulet Titan. It is the hardest deck to pilot. It has been relevant since like 2013 or something. Like, it is still the top deck in the format. It's just so hard to pilot that it wins tournaments only when the correct pilot has it.
Yeah. It's funny. I went to a random modern tournament one time because I only had a legacy deck, so I had blue red Delver, and I was like, well, let me just make it modern legal quick.
Yeah.
And so then I'm playing it, and I lost every round except against Amulet Titan because I knew how that deck worked.
The only thing I
played against it for years, so I knew how to prevent it.
Is Amulet a deck in Legacy these days? Or no, just because you played it so long ago?
I played it in Modern, so I was just like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
It's really incredible how long Amulet has just managed to survive and still be. It's been a turn 2 deck forever. Like, it's so crazy. But again, thank God it's so hard to pilot, or else I think there would have been a lot more bans in Amulet than there's been. It survived bans, though. That's what's nuts about it. I mean, there's been cards that have been banned in Amulet Titan. Still, just
with like Tron. Like, Tron is always going to be a thing. Like,
yeah, but Tron is shockingly not around these days. I guess Eldrazi is kind of
took its place.
But I mean, yeah. But I mean, it's not even a lot of Eldrazi decks aren't even using the Tron lands. Like.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like it's like fringe right now. Like, you might see a mono blue or a mono green Tron.
Yeah, mono blue still, which is the craziest thing to me. I always I feel like mono green or mono red has been the more popular Tron, but mono blue always seems to stick around longer than it's welcome, and then it's like, whoa, where the hell did where did this come from? So it's I'm hoping for something to help against the Eldrazi pain that is out there. I feel like it really limits decks to being faster. Like you can't really play, like, mid-range doesn't exist right now in Modern, just because Eldrazi will just blow it the hell out, but I don't know. It's, as I said, Modern is changing so much these days that I don't expect it to stay where it's at for very long, and we'll see. Ring leaving was a very nice thing to see. That was getting a little annoying, of every single deck playing the One Ring and just dominating. So
yeah, being colorless. It was in every deck.
Yeah. Do you guys still play? Do either of you guys play Legacy still?
I mean, I played like last year.
Yeah.
Like the last time I played.
Yeah, it's something everyone's always trying. All the modern players, I feel, they during the Ring, they jump to Legacy and they're like, "Come with us," and I'm like, "I don't got that money."
Although with the surveil lands being a thing, you can kind of get away with only needing like maybe
one or two. Yeah, for sure. I think that needs to be, if I ever do decide to make the jump to Legacy, I need to just, I don't know about you guys, but do you guys log your cards? I am an obsessive logger of my cards. I have every single card I own logged into Deckbox. I think it's up to 28,000 cards I have logged.
I downloaded Mana Box and I put just my rare book, just my expensive rare books, 2 of my like 20 rare books are in there. I haven't gotten through the other rest of it because I have 2 per color of like bulk rares. And then I have like my commons and uncommons, I have like 2 dressers full. So it's like there's no way I'm gonna have time to scan all this. Like,
yeah, fair.
I did Mana Box like a year ago. I did all of my cards, but then I just never really updated. You know, I go through cards so fast. It's like, oh, I just didn't do it, and now the more and more I don't do it, it's like
it just seems more and more daunting. Yeah, I really had gotten into a habit of whenever I come home from a tournament or something, any cards I have, sort them, log them, put them away. And maybe it's a little ADD of me, but I've done it, and man, it is a lifesaver now whenever I'm building a deck, because I can just look it up and be like, yep, I got that card. And especially with me trying these stupid home brews, you know, like,
where's Walls?
I'm not looking for cards that everyone's playing right now, so I need to know if I have it or not.
Yeah,
but I think I do need to at some point go through, maybe sell some cards to consolidate into some nicer cards, you know, and maybe I'll make the jump to Legacy. Just Force of Will terrifies me, man.
yeah.
It just is a terrifying card to know could at any moment be in someone's hand.
So yeah, instead of like just adding the cards, I was also selling cards, and that's where I like messed up on my Mana Boxes. I didn't uncheck them all, and so it's just like,
I made that mistake the first time I sold cards, and I was like, "Oh, that's not a good thing." You really have to keep track of that.
Yeah,
and then having a trade binder if people pull stuff out, you know, got to keep track. It's a lot. It is a lot to keep track of cards.
But I feel like once you're in it, you're on top of it. That's kind of like it helps your mind soothe a bit more. And like,
I can't tell you how many friends who like bought a card and then like 3 weeks later they're like, "Oh, I did have that card."
It's like,
I've
done that so many times.
Could have saved yourself $30 there.
Yeah, a lot of times with commons and uncommons, I do it just because I'm like, I don't want to dig.
Commons and uncommons. I don't even keep commons anymore. I just keep uncommons and up. And even then, now uncommons, it's like, unless I think it's a good uncommon, I think it can, you know, stay at the store for someone else to take.
It's funny.
But,
all right. Well, I think that's going to be our show for today. But how can people find you? Anything else you want to plug before we go here?
Just check me out. You go to Instagram, TikTok. Even I have a Facebook page if you still are doing that thing. And I'm Skulk the Hulking on all of those, on YouTube and Spotify, Skulk the Hulking, or just skulkthehulking.com. SKULK the Hulking. And check out the story. There's a lot more stories coming along, and let me know what you think about the AI stuff. And check out my Magic content, because I'm just going to keep making goofy stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome.